Hey guys, welcome to day 20. Today we're going through mobility for runners. Okay, so I do a bit of running. I'm not amazing by any means. I've certainly got some friends who are a lot better than I am. But this is just a quick routine from what I found and with chatting with them a little bit, and some exercises in some areas to work on releasing and stretching and stabilising to benefit running performance, or to make the aches and pains of running a little bit less so. Okay, so to begin with, we're going to start with some release and stretch work. All you'll need for this video, guys, is some sort of foam roller, anything you can extend over. If it's like a hard pillow or whatever is fine also. And then if you have a tennis ball or a spiky ball, that would be great too. So we'll start with the feet. Okay, we'll start with releasing through the feet. So you may be able to see the ball, probably will now. For me, guys, I'll just go for about 30 seconds, just starting with the midfoot. Okay, chances are if you're doing quite a lot of running, the feet are taking, especially if it's on road, the feet are taking quite a big hit. So this is quite a nice way to start the ball rolling, just getting a little bit of release through them feet. As I discussed in other videos as well, guys, I find that if I start with the feet, it sort of sets me up for the rest of the session. It relaxes my nervous system, allows me to breathe into the stretches a little bit more. Okay, it's just going from the forefoot to the heel. Okay, and we'll just do maybe 3 nice strokes. And swap sides. With these release exercises, guys, we'll just spend about 30 seconds on each one. Okay, what I'd suggest doing is, feel free to perform multiple sets. I'll just go through one set of each exercise, but feel free as you're doing it to go through multiple sets if you do feel very restricted or you're feeling a lot of benefit from an exercise. Okay. If you're doing it as like an evening thing, you could probably spend a bit more and a bit longer on each exercise. But if you're doing it as a morning thing and you're going to be doing a run in the day, try and spend only sort of 30 seconds. But as I said, you could do multiple sets. Okay, from there we'll get into the ankles. So you can use a tennis ball for this, you can use a roller. I'll use a roller. Probably can't see me there, can you? Down a little bit. Okay, so what we'll do here, start with just above the ankle, just into the Achilles to begin with. Put the other foot on top. And if you have any tight spots through here, just work into them a little bit. And then from there, just gently rolling up into the sort of soleus area, to the bottom of the, or just above the ankle. So what I usually like to do is just have a little roll, find a tight spot, and then I'll just perform some nice little circles with my ankle. And then I can sort of change position of the top leg as well to apply force in different areas. Okay, then we'll go right into the gastrocnemius now, so right towards the top. Okay, and then swap sides. So foam rolling work for everyone, guys. And this routine, it's not this is sort of what I found to be tight and restricted. And like I say, with some conversation with some friends who run quite a bit, I just sort of watching them move and whatnot. But you might find that some of the exercises you don't need to do. Some of them you want to spend more time on than others. It's going to be individualized. It's going to depend on probably how you run. Where your foot's striking. What sort of stuff are you? A trail runner? Are you a road runner? A track runner? What distances you're running? Probably all going to make a difference to where you need to spend more of your time with your mobility stability work. But hopefully this gives you a bit of a rough idea of what you could focus on. Okay, from there we'll get into the quads. So setting up the roll like this, lying on our front, knee comes to the side. Okay, from there, just start from the hip flexor and then rolling down to just above the knee. Okay, for me, I don't get too tight in my quads, so what I can do is you can intensify it by bending the knee. Okay, so you're pulling that heel up towards the bum, and then you can slowly straighten it if you find a tight spot. And that does make it a little bit more challenging. Slowly straighten it on a tight spot. Okay, swapping sides. Same again. Okay, when you are doing the rolling, guys, it shouldn't be painful. Okay, I sort of try and keep it to about 5, maybe 7 out of 10. No, not 7, more like 5. That'll be sort of the maximum threshold of how much discomfort I'll be in. Okay, it should be manageable. You should be able to breathe through it, relax into it. Okay, if it's painful, it's just going to make you seize up more. The idea is with the rolling is we're trying to desensitize our nervous system. Okay, that's the main mechanism probably at play. So we're trying to relax into the position. Then I put it away. Now we'll get into, Now we'll get into glutes. So we'll just use a tennis ball for this one. We're just going to place the ball on the side of the glutes. Now feel free to have a little play around, but you're just going to cross the leg over. Okay, stick that tennis ball on there, and then we'll just have a little bit of a play around. Okay, some people find this really, really challenging. Again, personally, I don't struggle too much with it. And some days I do. I guess it depends. Depends what I've been doing. Certainly after running though, external rotation, my glutes get really, really tight. I haven't run for a few days now, but yeah, it does get tight after running, day after. Okay, then swap sides. Again, try and be nice and slow with the rolls. Probably going a little bit quick, to be honest. Nice and slow, finding them tight spots. If we find them, we can just take a few breaths on them. Here, for example. Take a few breaths and then start that motion again. It's almost like self-massage. Well, it is basically self-massage, guys. That's exactly what it is. Okay, the last thing we'll do is we'll go through the thoracic. So quite often, especially if you're running and you also work at a desk, you'll have that sort of stooped over posture, and when we run, we want to be nice and upright. Okay, as I'm sure many of you will know. So thoracic, nice little place to work on our throwing rolling. We spend a lot of our time in quite excessive flexion in thoracic. So it can be quite nice to come onto the roller and just have a bit of time extension. Elbows in nice and tight. Okay, from there we're just gonna work from the bottom of the shoulder blades to the top, keeping the abs nice and tight. We can allow ourselves to really extend over, but again, keeping the abs tight. We're not trying to extend through the lumbar. We're trying to get extension to come from the thoracic as much as we can. Yeah, what I'll usually do is have a little bit of a roll, and then I'll usually find a spot and I'll just reach back into extension. Hold for a few breaths. And that'll do. Okay. Reason why I have the hands nice and tight is just to support the neck. And then the reason why I keep the abs tight is to again just facilitate the extension to the thoracic as opposed to the lumbar. Okay. Good stuff. Now we'll get into some stretches. So we'll begin against the wall. And we're just going to start with what's called a wall squat. So all we do, hopefully you'll get the gist from that camera angle. All we're going to do is simply, bum goes quite close to the wall. Closer it goes, the harder these are going to be. We then roll ourselves over and we'll just begin in a squat position. So here, let's have the back nice and flat. Okay, feet flat, pull the feet down as much as we can. Open the hips up while keeping the feet flat. Again, back nice and flat. Flat, flat, flat. Okay, from here you can just add a little bit of rotation in the hips. Keeping both sit bones on the floor. So as I rotate to one side, I'm not trying to bring this bum up. I'm trying to keep both my bum cheeks on the floor. Just add a little bit of hip rotation. From there, simply going to cross one leg over the other. Okay, so crossing it over. If it's very challenging to do this, guys, slide your foot further up or slide yourself further away from the wall. Okay, if you can get into that position, all good. From there, try and keep the back as low to the floor as possible. And then we can just have a little stretch in this external rotation. So you should feel it in the glutes. Again, it should be manageable. You should be able to breathe into it. We'll take 2 more breaths. And swap sides. I like to add a little bit of motion. That's just me personally. It's fine if you sort of hold it statically. Again, though, if you're doing this in the morning and you're going to be going for a run at some point today, I'd suggest just doing it for about 30 seconds, so 5 to 10 breaths should be sufficient. Again, though, if you're very tight, you can perform multiple sets. 1 more breath. And finally, we're going to straddle. So I'm just going to shift my bum to the wall. Okay, from here, I'll also have to go to the side a little bit. We're just going to open into that straddle position. Some of you might be up here, that's all good. Just go to where you feel comfortable. Again, keeping the back flat. Soft bend the knees is okay, but just play with straightening them. And you should feel this one through the adductors, guys. So inside of the thighs. Three more breaths. Okay, from there I'll just tip one leg over to the other, slide to the side, make sure my mic's not caught, and then scoot around. Okay, so there, a nice one you can do is just a general little stretch, but also it can be real good on a bedtime as well. And we spend a lot of time on our feet, so it can be nice sometimes just to lie on our back and have our feet up. It's pretty chill. From there, guys, we'll go into the chair stretches. So the reason why we need the chair. Okay, so we'll start with hamstrings. Now, obviously, a lot of runners have got quite tight hamstrings. They're going to be working quite hard. A lot of impact going through them, and a lot of shortening going on. As we cycle through our stride. Okay, they're never really at much length, so we'll just put a bit of length through them. So obviously start on a lower position, if that's comfortable for you. Okay, from here, soft bend the knees fine. Just really it depends on feel. So I'll usually start people off with the soft bend, and I'll teach them the hinge. So from here, we're trying to hinge at the hips. Okay, we're trying to really lengthen the hamstring by working into anterior pelvic tilt. Okay, and then there, as we start to hinge forward, you should feel a nice stretch down the back of the hamstring and the belly of the muscle. If that's comfortable, you can straighten the leg, and if you still feel it in the belly of the hamstring, keep it straight, that's fine. If you don't, if you start to feel it in the back of the knee a little bit too much, and feel like more of a sharp sensation in the back of the knee, then just add that bend again. Okay. If it's very comfortable for you, you can go up to the top of the chair, like so, and you can form it here, which is what I'll do. But again, feel free to drop it. Okay, we'll take 5 breaths through here. Again, hinging at the hips. Notice the back stays nice and straight. Anterior pelvic tilt, lengthening that hamstring. Attaches up at the pelvis. So by getting that anterior tilt, we really put it on full length. Okay, 5 breaths. Swap sides. Again, if you want to start with the lower one, by all means do. Anterior pelvic tilt, pulling the belly button forwards. I'm imagining we're pulling the leg in towards the hip. Okay, so it's being pulled into the hip. It's a good cue by Emmett Lewis, that one I saw on his little front splits video. Good video, actually. Okay, stand tall. So from there, we're just going to go into couch stretch, hip flexor quad. So place the foot on top. Okay, the closer you go to the bench, the harder it's going to be. Sorry, to the chair, the harder it's going to be. From there, we try and sit tall. If you need to start in an angle, that's fine. Okay, if you can, you're going to sit tall. Posterior pelvic tilt, so the opposite of the hamstring stretch. Now we're trying to really tip the pelvis under, okay? And then from there, we just try and sit tall, keeping that pelvis tucked under. Take 5 breaths through here. So the way I try and increase the intensity in this stretch, guys, is by trying to get more posterior tilt. You know, I might start to leave my torso up a little bit more, but the main emphasis is on that posterior tilt. So I'm really trying to go into more and more and more and more and more posterior pelvic tilt. Every exhale. Okay, you might find it a little bit comfy to do that one on a wall as well. Put it on a chair, it can be a little bit uncomfortable unless it's just all soft, like a couch. A couch, some people call it a couch stretch. Don't know why I'm calling it a couch. Sofa, or a wall, or a chair that's not got a bit of wood on it. Probably more comfortable. You want to be, like I say, you want to be comfortable in as comfortable as you can be with things like that in your stretches, guys. So you can just let go on that exhale. Okay. Good stuff. Into the upper body now. So we'll go with our thoracic extension stretch. Okay, we're going to get the roller. I'm going to poke the camera down a wee bit. Okay, from here, we're just going to get ourselves into like a little bit of a child's pose position. So knees slightly apart. For me, I go feet quite close together because I'm sort of more dominant that way on my hips. More comfortable for me. From there, we're just going to try and sit the hips back and then let the chest drop down towards the floor. Inhale, come up. So that one, guys, you might have to just play around a little bit with the position, but literally imagine someone's got a hand and they're pushing down on that thoracic spine. Okay, every exhale, just gently pushing down into more extension. Okay, I really enjoy that one. I didn't really want to come out of it. From there, guys, shoulder extension. So fingers turn backwards. Okay, pull the shoulder blades back. From there, we're going to slide the hips forwards and we'll hold this position. Again, breathing through, really pulling them shoulder blades back. You have to slightly grip the fingers into the floor just so your hands don't slide out. You want to keep them about shoulder width. If you feel comfortable, you can just slide them hips a little bit further forwards. Exhale, releasing tension. Okay, I like to slide my arms to the side to come out of this one. So the rationale behind that one, guys, when we're running again, sometimes we can get quite stooped, sometimes the pecs can get quite sore. I always find shoulders and pecs can get real sore for whatever reason. I imagine sometimes if I stoop over, I get fatigued. I used to do a lot of running with like a weight pack, and so potentially that was the reason as well, with having the straps there. And also just the demands of life, driving, computer, etc., where we're sort of stooped over. So I just like to put us into that extended position. See a little bit of, as we, especially going faster over hills, as we go into the backswing of the arm drive. Okay, we want to be able to get into that extension. So I just find that stretch quite nice for hitting that. Good stuff. Now we're just going to get into the mobility/stability. So again, with these stretches, guys, feel free to do more than one set. I would suggest if it's in the morning, just doing about 30 seconds tops. If it's in the evening, you could probably do a little bit longer just to wind you down, or if it's post-run. Mobility stability work, so we're just going to go through 3 exercises. Okay, I'll go through one set for time purposes, but I'd suggest doing more. Okay, so the first one I have shown you before, it's called the Spiderman Walk. Love this one, really awesome exercise. So essentially, we're standing nice and tall. You won't be able to see me at this point, but it's not really a problem. The good bits are at the bottom. So from here, we're starting just by bouncing on one leg. Okay, so we're going to try and create that tripod foot. Pull the right knee in towards the chest. Okay, again, we're creating that posterior tilt, really pushing tall, standing tall. We'll hold that for about 5 seconds. And already there, we're building that stability through the ankles, through the hip. From there, we drop down into our lunge position. Okay, in that lunge position, I'm just going to start by just having a little play around in that lunge. Okay, moving some different positions. I'm then going to drop up into that hamstring stretch. Have a bit of time here. Okay, if you're very comfortable, ensure that back's nice and flat. You can take the hands off. Again, just to place a bit more demands on the stability. And then we drop back down. We place the right hand inside the right foot. We exhale, open up. Come back down, and then we sit tall. Okay, we sit tall, we get ourselves nice and stable. We brace, we stand tall. We bring the opposite leg straight up without it touching the floor. Okay, I'll do a little spin. Without it touching the floor. Again, hold for about 5 seconds, really standing tall. Squeezing the bum, squeezing the bum so we get that full hip extension. And then we drop into lunge. Again, have a little play in that lunge. Hamstring stretch. We can take the hands off if we feel very stable. And then into the lunge, into the rotation. So left hand inside the left leg. Exhale, rotate. And then again, stand tall, get yourself stable, and we go straight in to the opposite leg. So normally I'll do this as like a line, guys, you know, in sort of 10 meter line, something like that. We'll just do 1 rep each side just to show you, just demonstration. But like I said, I suggest doing about 3 to 5 reps. From there, we'll go for bare table reach. So reason why I put this one in there, I'm going to have a little bit of like ankle stability in that dorsiflex position, just by the way we're holding ourselves in that sort of bear crawl position. Also, fair bit of strength through our anterior chain as well, quads, hip flexors, abs, and then we're also moving into that extended position and stabilizing through there as well. As I mentioned, I think it's quite an important position to open us up, keep us nice and tall, and allow us to get a nice backswing in the run. So I do quite like this one as a little mobility / stability exercise. So from here, on all fours in that bear position, okay, the toes are pulled under, we step through, we drive the hips up, we hit that full hip extension, we open the shoulders, hold for about 1, 2, 3, and then we return to that bear position, nice and stable through the spine. Again, step through, hips go up, 1, 2, 3, return, hips go up, return. So we're getting that nice full hip extension, that nice full shoulder extension, and then returning to that bear position. Last one. And release. Okay. Final exercise I'm going to show you guys is going to be the side plank clam. Side plank clam. So looking at lateral stability here. If you've got a band, use it. If not, don't worry about it. It's not the end of the world. This one's not a very heavy one anyway. It's going to go just above the knee. From there, the heel's going to go in line with the bum. Okay, as is the shoulder and the torso and the head. The knees are going to come slightly in front. From here, hands are going to go on the hip. As we drive up into the side plank, we're going to abduct our hips, so open our knees, open our hips, control back down. Open, control back down, keeping the bottom foot pushed into the floor throughout. Pushing the shoulder into the floor. Extending the hip as we drive up. Last one. And we'll swap sides. Okay, so here guys, building that strength and stability through the outside, the glutes, through the obliques, and other sort of lateral stabilizers of the body. Okay, hands are going to go on the hips, one heel on top of the other, probably can't see me there, one heel on top of the other. From here, push the shoulder into the floor, drive the bottom foot into the floor, extend the hip, abduct the knee, control back down. 5 more. Keep pushing that shoulder into the floor. Two more. Last one. And relax. Okay. There you have it, guys. Gone through some release and some stretches. It was the first part, and then we went through that mobility stability exercises there. As I mentioned, feel free for both the release work to do multiple sets, and also with the things that you find more restricting you, and also with stability work, I'd suggest doing at least 3 sets. It could be pre-run. It could be just as like a little mobility routine you do in the morning. I always find nice to have a little morning routine for movement. But yeah, could be whenever really. It could be a little session you do in the gym. But I think there's 3 nice little exercises there to help a little bit improve that stability and mobility in your body for running, as well as the release work as well. If we do feel like quite tight and quite restricted, if we are quite tight, it'll be quite hard for us to hit good positions in the mobility work, in the mobility stability work. So I'd suggest going through a couple of release exercises that I went through that you find are restricted for you, and then you should be able to hit better positions when you come and do them 3 movements, and then you should then be able to hit better positions even more when you actually run as well. Okay, which I think running people can just be like, I just want to run, but I think, I don't know, my philosophy on it is that you want to move with sense of mastery and grace. You want to move well. Okay, so even with your running, how well can you move? How efficient can you be when you run? So yeah, that's sort of why I put this together, and hopefully you find that occurs. Feel free to give me any feedback or make your own suggestions. But yeah, thanks very much for watching, guys. Really appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to seeing you for tomorrow's video.